Well, the drama that is the current DC Studios situation gets more and more interesting. We've been getting lots of reports about characters being clipped, the universe being rebooted, and now some details from behind the scenes about some of the shenanigans that may have been going on surrounding Henry Cavill's return in Black Adam. Let's take a couple minutes to review multiple updates from DC Studios and talk a little bit about what was going on. Well, as many of you know, there has been a ton of news coming out from DC Studios and from behind the scenes involving specifically Superman. Now, all of this seems to involve The Rock, some of the things that went on with the previous negotiations, and some of the game playing that happened, so we're going to break into it all. But first, let's talk about Man of Steel 2. Now, before Gunn and Safran took over, it has been reported that Man of Steel 2 was in development, and the former leadership at Warner Bros. Had Stephen Knight set up to direct and write the feature. Now, according to The Hollywood Reporter, this would have been a direct sequel to Man of Steel, and Brainiac would have been the primary villain. Now, obviously, this has been put on the back burner now, and maybe those plot points will be recycled in the future, but clearly Warner Bros. Is going in a different direction with James Gunn at the helm. Obviously, all of this is full stop, with Henry Cavill leaving the role, but it is interesting how much was going on behind the scenes and some of the details that have been leaking out over the last couple of weeks. Now, The Hollywood Reporter did share some more insight into Henry Cavill's departure and seemed to confirm that DC Studios is indeed going full reboot, meaning they will cut most, if not all, ties to anything that has to do with the DCEU. This seems to make a lot of sense because we've been hearing a lot of rumors about both Cavill and Gal Gadot's appearances in The Flash, which are reported to be scrapped, but the reports are a little bit conflicting. Honestly, it really does sound like that DC Studios will indeed do this full reboot, and I would not be surprised if most of these cameos have been removed. For many fans, this is pretty much a big bummer. Cavill's return in the Black Adam was a big deal, and it seemed to signal a new era for DC. Apparently, it did signal a new era, just not the era that we were hoping for. Now, as many of you know, Black Adam star Dwayne Johnson really did push for Cavill to return as Superman in that role. And if you were paying attention, shortly after Cavill announced he was back on social media, The Rock sort of chimed in and took some credit for the news, claiming to have gone over the head of former DC Films boss Walter Hamada to make this happen. But since then, the poor box office performance of Black Adam have called Johnson's plans for a sequel, spin-offs, and Black Adam vs. Superman battle into question, and this really was even before James Gunn and Peter Safran pulled the plug on Cavill's time as the Man of Tomorrow. Now, there was a really interesting piece in that Hollywood Reporter article, and it's not very flattering to Dwayne Johnson, because the trade actually says, in the end, Henry was a pawn in Johnson's attempt to control a piece of DC. Now, it seems that Johnson made use of Superman's popularity to boost interest in his movie, Black Adam, and to try to force his plans for the DCU into production. It's absolutely no secret that the former professional wrestler wanted to take charge of his very own corner of the DC universe. But quite honestly, after the returns, the odds on this are pretty low, and it's very, very clear to me that Gunn and Safran are running the show. Now, this really does make Johnson look bad, and combined with those leaked financials that appear to have also come from Johnson's camp, it really does appear he totally overextended himself here and may have compromised a lot of people's positions. His team allegedly leaked that financial data to Deadline in an effort to make Black Adam look more profitable. However, over the course of the next couple of days, many insiders described using toy sales and home entertainment projections as an absolutely laughable way of trying to make the movie look anything more than it was, a financial disappointment. We also had Warner Bros. Discovery move $68 million for HBO Max to pick up the feature and put that into the profit column. So that tells you a lot about what's going on. Now, it does seem after all this, The Rock has cut some ties with Warner Bros. There were multiple reports that he actually stopped following Warner Bros. Discovery and Black Adam over on Instagram. Kind of an emotional reaction to all the negative attention that he's been getting. Now, since then, The Rock has chimed in and said he never actually followed those accounts on Instagram. I don't know if that's true or not, but it does seem like there is some behind-the-scenes stuff going on, and probably not the kind of behavior that makes anybody look good. Now, The Rock did chime in and say that there is an insanely toxic time in culture, basically referring to the way he and Black Adam have come under fire as the DCU changes into the DCU, but I think this is a lot of hedging and just trying to come out of the whole situation looking as good as possible. Now, the drama at DC is far from over. We're still unclear on which cameos are going to appear in the upcoming features, and I do feel like at this point, we're likely to see very little of any cameos in order to make as clean of an ending for James Gunn to relaunch the universe with the new Superman project. Now, obviously, we're going to follow everything DCU moving forward. I know this drama-filled story is far from over, and we're going to bring you that news as soon as it drops. But until we know more, what do you guys think? How do you feel about the possibility that Man of Steel 2 was going to feature Brainiac? And do you feel like The Rock used Henry Cavill in order to promote Black Adam? Or is this just a big misunderstanding? Tell me what you think in the comments below. If you like this video, make sure you hit like, click subscribe, and if you don't ring that bell, you won't get any updates. Peace.